That's my quarterback. Love Joe Burrow. So, last game, Yoshi actually had probably one of the best games he's had in some time. He's had a very rough time this season. So, across the board, very happy with at least his last week performance. But he did have a drop. And when he did have a drop, obviously, Joe Burrow being now on the sideline again, he's not going to accept that. He's not going to just let that happen and, it is what it is type scenarios. Because this year so far, 21 targets and 11 receptions for Yoshi. So that's 10 targets that either he dropped or they were just not successful targets toward Yoshi. And he's had some very bad drops this year. So, he definitely needs to get this crap together because the Bengals aren't going to go with Jermaine Burton. They just aren't. Looking at the snap count from last week, Mitchell Tinsley did actually have his most snaps he's had this season so far. He had 13, which before this game, the most he's had this season was 10. So he had 3 more than normal. But as you can see, Yoshi, 53 snaps. So he needs to get his crap together. So pretty much all Joe said on the sideline based on what Gronk says here, which AI doing lip reading, it was either you got to catch that or what's with the drop. And you can see, Joe's going through it with him. He's explaining to him everything, which they gotta show the foot, man. They gotta show the foot, man. I'm happy he's getting better. I'm happy he's back to exercising and training. I'm very excited about that, but it breaks my heart every single time I see my quarterback hurt or in any way messed up. Now, there's no audio to this clip, so there's no, segment with this clip. It's simply just Joe Burrow talking to Yoshi after it, but this is another thing that, this is why I love Joe so much, because Zac would never, ever do something like this. Like, go over and get in the face, not get in the face, but, work with the player to say, hey, you dropped the ball. This is what we're going to do. This is what you need to do. This is, what's going on. Explain this to me. We need to fix this, right? That's something that Zac would never do. The only time we've ever seen Zac get animated with a player was when, Joe Burrow and him had this thing on the sideline. Outside of that, it's pretty much... Look at Zac. Wait, well, hold up. I did not even realize Zac was in the background. Wait, I was so focused on Joe, I didn't even realize Zac was in the cuck chair. Look at Zac. Zac's sitting there. Bro, there ain't no way. Zac's standing there while Joe is, being an actual coach. And Zac's just hey, yeah, whatever he said. And then when he leaves, Zac just keeps staring forward. He's not even talking. He's just staring forward at Yoshi for some reason, but I didn't realize Zac was in the background. Zac reminds me of all those, horror movies where they're he's behind me, isn't he? That's exactly how this is. If you didn't know football, right, and you were okay, I'm just going to watch football for the first time ever, and you saw this, you would probably think Joe Burrow's the coach. You'd be like, oh, wow. That coach is really giving his player a talking to here. And again, I say, but it's not, he's not screaming at him, he's not yelling at him. He's emphasizing that you got to catch the football, right? But you would think the guy in the background, you'd be like, oh, is that the water boy or the assistant coach or something? He doesn't really seem like he's doing anything. Zac's just okay, yeah, whatever Joe said. Freaking, oh man, Zac Taylor absolutely kills me. I will say though, because Joe Flacco is going to take us to the playoffs and get us to the playoffs here, I probably mean Zac Taylor is going to be here for the foreseeable future. Because Joe Flacco at least is going to get us to when Joe Burrow comes back. And Joe's going to win the last 4 games of the season. So if that's the case, we get to the playoffs, our defense is our biggest issue. But the AFC this year, I'm just not too scared of any team in the AFC at this moment in time. I know a lot of teams having a lot better seasons than they expected. Does not scare mainly anyone in the AFC. So we get the playoffs. Our biggest issue is going to be our defense. For defense is an issue. We're going to have some very good back and forth shootouts versus our opponents. So let's just rock and roll. With that being said, shout out to Yoshi for having that really clutch catch at the end of the game anyway. So, but he needs to continue to step up. He needs to continue to get better. And man, having Joey be on that sideline is just gorgeous. Because Zac Taylor right there doing absolutely nothing is your typical Zac Taylor activities. Peace out.